Who doesn't love a girlfriend getaway? Today, I'm going to take you on a girlfriend getaway like no other. I'm talking yachting aboard the ultra luxurious SeaDream II. If private beaches, caviar, and champagne are your kind of things, then this video is for you. Welcome back to Travel Tips and Recommendations presented by Jones Getaways by Dream Vacations. Tommie's off camera, but he's around there. But the husbands were not invited on this girls' trip. It was just us. And I recently took a luxury yacht trip with my travel besties, Latasha, Jen, and Heather. And I'm excited to spill all the bubbly details for you. Are you ready? I know I am. Let's go. Ooh, child. That morning started early. It was a 5:30 a.m. flight. And even though I love taking early morning flights so I can get to my destination in enough time. Anyway, we made the 5:30 a.m. flight from Miami to St. Thomas, which was our gateway into our yacht life. And I arrived there about 3:15 p.m., which was perfect time. So our usual plan when we travel is to fly down a day early before our cruise so that we could hopefully avoid any kind of hiccups that we may have along the way. So Tasha and I met there, St. Thomas, and then Heather and Jen, they met each other at Miami before heading down to St. Thomas the very next morning because they were coming from the West Coast and, you know, they would have to take red eyes and all that. So they just ended up going to Miami a day before. So our first night, we stayed at the Secret Harbor Beach Resort. And if you've never been there, it is a very peaceful resort. It has beachfront views and is really close to everything. So we didn't get a chance to really go off resort though, because frankly, I was really too doggone tired to do anything. We ate on property, we watched the sunset, and we just really relaxed. The next day was a casual walk on the beach because we couldn't board until 2 p.m. So we got up, made sure we got some beach time in, and kind of walked around the property just to get another idea of what they had to offer there. Pro tip. If sailing out of St. Thomas, the Secret Harbor Beach Resort is an excellent overnight stop. Now the yacht. It was sleek, intimate, and very welcoming. And here are some of the details about the yacht. It's a luxury cruise yacht operated by SeaDream Yacht Club. It is the sister ship to the SeaDream I. They only have 2 ships. We were on the 2. It offers an intimate yachting experience for up to 112 guests, which is great because it keeps it very small. And the ship was built in 1985, but don't let that discourage you though, because it has undergone several renovations since 1985, and they've upgraded several areas on the ship. It has a variety of amenities, including the outdoor dining, a spa, and a fitness area. There are 95 international crew members on the sailing. Crew members were fantastic. It's 334 feet long and typically sails in the Caribbean and the Mediterranean. We were able to upgrade our cabin once we got on board to a larger porthole. We were on the 2nd deck and then they upgraded us to the 3rd deck. The rooms were typically pretty much like the same size. We just had a larger porthole. The pro tip though. Wi-Fi is limited to 1 device with 2 occupants per room. So you're going to have to plan ahead and figure out who's going to be the person to get that 1 device with the Wi-Fi. Or you're just going to have to purchase the Wi-Fi package for 2 devices per cabin. So once we got into the cabin, it was a beautiful layout for the cabin. It was a typical layout if you've gone on mass market ships though. But as soon as you walk in, you have the bathroom area to the side, and I must say the bathrooms are pretty small. Now for someone, especially I kept thinking of Tommie and how he would fit into this bathroom, and he would have a hard time doing what he need to do in this bathroom because it's really small. And by small, I mean where the toilet is, the front door of the bathroom is like literally right there, and your knees, you have to kind of turn to the side in order to use a bathroom. But your bathroom is there, it's a little small, it's fine, whatever. But then you go into the seating area where the couch and the TV and everything right there. And then you have, because we were sharing a cabin, the 2 beds, they have them split, which the beds were very comfortable, had no issues with that. And because you are sharing a room with someone else that's, not your significant other or anything like that, if one person has to get up or wants to be up and into the living room area, they have these blackout curtains that you can't see anything once you draw these curtains. So I thought that was a very good touch where someone can watch TV and just have that other space to themselves, so you don't feel too crowded into the cabin. So cabins were very nice. So the nightlife that's on board were pretty fantastic too, because it's such an intimate space there. They have a piano bar, and people will go up in the evenings and kind of gather around the piano bar to chat. They have a small casino, nothing like mass market casinos though. There was really just a blackjack table, and if you're into that, you can go over there and play blackjack, because there's really only enough space for the dealer and several seats for the guests, and that's it. That's their casino. But you're not really there anyway to go on the casinos. This is a yachting experience. It's not cruising, it's yachting. So you're going to be off the ships anyway when they're docked, which means you have to take tenders back and forth. But at every destination that they go to, those are the main attractions when you're on this kind of sailing. So, and we got to have dinner with Captain McLeod, which was definitely a highlight. He's been on the ship for, I think, 15 years. And he also gave us a tour of the bridge several days later after we had dinner with him. So that was fantastic. Our first port of call was Jost van Dyke, which was absolute paradise. We booked an excursion for that morning, and we wanted to do some snorkeling. But we took a tender from the shore, which runs every 30 minutes, transferred to the snorkel boat, and dove into the crystal clear waters. And when I say we did that, they did that, because I don't do that. But after it was beautiful out there, though, when we got a chance I saw the pictures of that people took down there when they were snorkeling. So it was great to just be out there in the sun, and it was a beautiful day. After we finished that excursion, which was about 4 hours long, they took us back to the shore of Jost van Dyke. There we had the iconic champagne and caviar splash, and this is synonymous with SeaDream. This is their thing, what they do, and they know how to do it well. It was champagne served from a surfboard while we stood in waist deep water in the Caribbean Sea eating the caviar. This was my first time having caviar, and frankly, I actually enjoyed it. The way they had everything set up there. Let us know whether you like caviar at all, and let us know down in the comments. I enjoyed it. I loved it. But we couldn't leave there without going to the Saga bar. And the story is that, of course, you have, some cash in your pocket, and by the time because you have to tender there. So by the time you get to the shore, your dollars are soggy in your pocket. So that's what they said the story was for that. But we went down and had the famous drinks there, and it was delicious. So it was a great day. The crew from the ship, they actually did a barbecue there too. They set everything up. The food was magnificent. It was just a fantastic time to be there with my girlfriends and just sitting there, just making all these memories. So we spent the day out there at Saga bar and Jost van Dyke. Didn't get a chance to kind of walk around anywhere. We just stayed there. And after that, we took the tender back to the ship and just kind of start sailing to the next destination. The next stop was St. Barts. This is where French chic meets the island glam, and we made sure to make reservations at Nikki Beach because, of course, why not? I definitely wanted to make sure I got there, got a chance to see everything, because you see, if you've done any kind of research, you always see the people standing on top of the tables, dancing and having a good time, and just kind of day drinking and just having a ball. And I wanted to see it. I wanted to participate in that kind of thing. So of course we were going to go to Nikki Beach, and we got there. And I think we ended up leaving there though before the party started, which was fine because it was we wanted to get there, soak in the atmosphere and just make sure that we could let people know what you could expect, because we got there, had our drinks, ate our food, left, and food was great. Left there, and then just kind of walked around the entire area of St. Bart, and just kind of took it all in. That night, Tasha and I were kind of tired, so we didn't go out to dinner, but Jen and Heather did. They dined at a restaurant called Bonito, and they said the food was fantastic, and just seeing the fashions around there and all the views, it was just top tier. If you do get a chance to go out to St. Bart, just make sure that you take in all the sights. You need to go everywhere and do all the things, so highly recommend doing that. On to Anguilla the next day, which was pure elegance. We scheduled again with the Anguilla Tourism Board to have a tour around the island, and we met up with Angelique and her driver, and they took us around to several resorts so that we could get a chance to kind of see what Anguilla had to offer. The first one was a luxury resort, which was Aurora Anguilla on Rendezvous Bay, which is a Belmont property. And this property was ranked #1 Caribbean island and Caribbean golf resort of the year. Beautiful property. It is wedding worthy and just absolutely gorgeous. We had lunch there at sea level, and it was, amazing. They have a dish called it's crayfish, and which is only served there in Anguilla. And it was delicious. The views from this hotel property was, it was just amazing. Amazing. You have to go there. It's not an all-inclusive property or anything like that, but it's a 5-star property that you won't have to want for anything. Everything is right there available for you. So a pro tip though, the ferry from Anguilla to St. Martin is $30 one way, or you can fly for about $150. And I think either way you go, it'll be worth every penny, whatever you decide to do. Once we left there, had the tour of the island, we went back to the ship, and this night we wanted to make sure that we experienced the Balinese bed. So when you first get on board, you can schedule your night for the Balinese bed. And we wanted to test it out to see what it was about. The great thing about SeaDream is that they provide all their guests with these monogram pajamas, the top and bottom, for everybody. They have all the sizes, whatever, they provide it for you. And I thought that was pretty cool for them to do that. So of course, we had to dress up in our pajamas and go to the Balinese bed. Now, it's an experience where the staff will make up the beds. If you're celebrating a anniversary, engagement, or anything like that, you could have the front section of the ship to yourself, and they will block it off. They'll make the beds up and have it. The aesthetics of it is beautiful. We had the Balinese beds that were on the sides of the ship, and they were made up really nice. We got up there and had our champagne there, and it was a little chilly for me to be out there. I was not going to sleep out there. People can, and you can definitely do that under the stars, because that's another thing that they boast, a part of SeaDream, but that wasn't my thing. So I went out there for the photo op, had my champagne, and then I went back inside so I could sleep in a true bed. All right. And it was a little rocky that night too, so I definitely wasn't going to be out there then. And then they said it started to rain and all that, and I'm like, I ain't finna do that. So I went back to my cabin and had a good night's sleep, and that was that. So the next day we went to Iles, which gave us so the night before, as we were sleeping, because we're on a smaller ship, you tend to have a little more rocky waters, and you just have to brace yourself, because sometimes it can get pretty choppy, and you got to make sure you take your motion sickness medicines before you set sail again, because you just never know when you're going to encounter some of those rocky waters. And we had it that night, and I'm glad I didn't sleep out there on that Balinese bed. So we had some rocky waters to where I had to really brace myself on the sides to make sure I wasn't going to fall off that, So anyway, we made it through that, got to the next port, which was Iles. That's it. So once we got on the island, we again, you have to tender everywhere went. Every port we went to, we have to tender in, because these smaller islands don't have the capacity to have these larger, have the ships that come up right to the dock. So that's a part of the yachting experience anyway, is that you got to tender in. So we did the tender. We strolled through the charming little town, and we knew we weren't, because we were only going to be there maybe till like 4 p.m. that day. So we just knew we wanted to get off, walk around the town, get off the ship, walk around the town, and then we scheduled our spa day for that day. And I'm telling you, that spa experience was amazing. Those ladies know what they're doing in that spa. It was absolutely fantastic. Going there and having this experience with my girlfriends, and we just knew we wanted to chill and relax and just kind of melt some of this stress away. We knew that the spa was, going to do that for us. And some of them actually went twice. I only did one time because it was, I was fine with that, but then they just kept going back. And we met other people on the ship too that they only sail SeaDream, and they go to the spa continuously, and they rotate between the SeaDream 1 and 2. So I said, oh, okay, that's something I wasn't expecting, but I'm with it. But that's another thing too with luxury travel. It's not just about all the adventures and the destinations. You definitely need to take some time knowing when to pause and just kind of pour into yourself, so. Our next stop was Antigua, which was mixed with culture and calm. It was the most relaxing place. Once we got through the city area, we had a driver that picked us up from the tourism board also, and they gave us a tour of the island. We first visited the Betty's Hope sugar plantation. It was a historic spot that I think you have to go there and just kind of look around. If you're going to be in Antigua, that's one of the places you need to go. We knew we wanted to go to a beachfront lunch spot, so they suggested we go to Dennis. And Dennis's, I think that was the name of it. So while we were there, we were watching the sunset from the sands, and the food was delicious. And they also made their homemade hot sauce, and we made sure that we got a couple of those bottles there because it was delicious. After that, we went to Shirley Heights, and going to Shirley Heights, they used to have cricket matches there, and they have the kite festival on Easter morning. At Shirley Heights also on Sundays, they have the barbecue there. I think it's Thursdays and Sundays. They have these barbecue that they have DJs come out, and it's just a day of fun. And the heartbeat of Antigua is strong and beautiful. We absolutely love there. Can't wait to go back. The last thing, we wrapped it all up in St. Martin. And instead of leaving that final day, Jen and I decided to stay an extra day in St. Martin just to kind of get an understanding of the French side and the Dutch side and see what all it had to offer. We stayed at the JW Marriott, which is on the Dutch side. And we explored the island. We went to Grand Cause for the food scene. And I was just blown away with how, just looking at all the sights and seeing everywhere where you can eat, all the restaurants, all the shops that they had there. It was, I loved it. The weather was great. It was a perfect time for us to go. And this was actually around February time frame that we went, and the weather was amazing. It rained maybe just throughout the entire week. It rained maybe a couple of days, but it cleared up quickly, so it was an amazing time to go. But while we were in St. Martin that night, we ended up going to dinner at Ocean's 82, which was the perfect ending for our Caribbean yachting escape. Ocean 82, the vibe there was amazing. The music was playing. It was open air for where you're sitting. Open air, if you can see out. Well, you can't see because it was nighttime, but the ocean is out there. But the breeze from the ocean was just It was so relaxing and so peaceful. I absolutely loved it. Now, I have some tips for you. So tip number 1, you need to bring a universal adapter because different islands have different plugs, outlets for you. Tip number 2, pack motion sickness bands just in case, because the sea gets spicy sometimes. But if you don't have the bands, well, make sure you have the Dramamine or whatever kind of motion sickness medicines that you use. Tip number 3, plan your Wi-Fi wisely. It's 1 device on SeaDream per cabin, so make it count. And tip number 4, don't overpack. Yacht life is casual luxury. They say, this is yachting, not cruising. SeaDream II gave us a sisterhood with sunsets and stories that we'll laugh about forever. This trip was unforgettable, but don't just watch me live it. I want you to live this as well with your girlfriends. If there are any groups of girlfriends that you just want to get a getaway with, let us plan it for you. Reach out to us at jonesgetaways.com, or you can reach out to us on Instagram or by email. All of my contact information will be in the description box below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell so you don't miss an episode, and share this video with your girlfriends. Remember to travel often, travel smart, and travel safe. Till next time, bye.